Hello, all of you lovely souls. I am so glad that you found your way to my Soul Practices YouTube. For those of you who don't know, I had a podcast for 13 years with Empower Radio and then with mindbodyspirit.fm. Life comes along and changes everything. So here I am on YouTube because I have connected with so many incredible people all over the world whose messages have meant something to me and whose messages I know need to be shared. So I do what I can to share those messages here at the Soul Practices YouTube. And in case I didn't say it, my name is Teri Williams. And today we're going to have a conversation with a new soul sister, Vickie Ball Seiter, who I met through Sarah Seidelmann. Her interview is a couple weeks ago, so just visit my page and look for Sarah Seidelmann. But Sarah offered a teacher training group for her Follow Your Feel Good Hero's Journey trainings, and I was one of her first people to take the course, Facilitators training, a few years ago. And today we're going to chat with Vickie, who just took the course within the last, I don't know, 6 months or so. And Vickie and I had an awesome conversation, the two of us, a couple of months ago. And this is an extension of that conversation. So I can share Vickie's magic with all of you. So welcome, 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 Sister Feel Gooder.
Thank you. I am so grateful and honored to be with you today.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about your journey. How did you end up, first of all, in Sarah's facilitator training? And then let's talk a little bit about where you are in the world, and I don't mean physically, but about the nature elements of healing that you offer and so much more.
I ended up becoming an equine assisted coach because I had an experience with a horse that changed my life. I was working and it was very, very stressful. And I saw someone ride by our house on a horse. And all I knew was that I needed horse time. I don't know what that meant. And I walked up to her and I said, I need horse time. And she said, well, I have 3 horses. I live about a quarter mile down the road and we'll make that happen some Saturday. So a few weeks later, we went down and she said, what horse do you want? And there was a horse in the background like this, just, getting my attention. And I said, I don't know, but I'll take that one. And his name was Bo, and we instantly connected. And with all this stress going on in my life, that horse made me feel whole, complete, a leader. I mean, in all of the stress and not wanting to go to work, and Sunday afternoons were, the whole, my stomach's upset, I think I'm going to be sick because I had to work on Monday. Here I was with this horse, and it was beautiful. And I thought, is this called anything? Like, can I help other people connecting with animals? Because this was just life-changing. And I found out it was called equine assisted coaching.
Wow.
So I found a program with Lisa Morell, and her business is called Equine Alchemy. And I took her 18-month course. So I became a certified life coach and a certified equine assisted coach. She had intensive weekends all over the country. I was upstate New York, North Carolina, Albuquerque. It was kind of everywhere. So you really got well-rounded and connected with a lot of different people. So I decided I was going to get horses because it was really hard to work at somebody else's barn, because I always wanted to honor their rules and their, the way they worked with horses. And I just knew I was different. I was way different. I was not in the traditional role with horses. So I was certified in 2015. We moved to this farm that year, but then we had to put up a fence, and I was offered about 12 different horses because people thought that the horses had a really great life with me. And I chose 3 of all these horses that would become ours. And then we added 2 more. So by the time we got everything set up, it was really summer 2016 before I could really do a whole lot of work with the horses. I always say I'm not good with words, and then somebody loves what I say. So when I find the right people, I really feel like my voice is heard. And that's what I want others to know, that I hear them and I want to support them in along their journey. I got to Sarah Seidelmann. How did I get to Sarah? Well, I got her book, the Beasties book. And then I was part of something, and she offered the marketing material. And what I loved about her marketing material, and what I love about what Sarah does, is that you don't get feedback.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the most important part about listening to yourself. When someone else just holds space,
Yeah.
your voice is heard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just heard by the person holding the space, it's heard by you.
Yeah.
And I think it's so incredibly valuable and important.
Yeah.
To just hear yourself think and not be judged.
Yeah.
Not analyze, not, and I've always been like this really curious person. And when I saw Sarah's marketing material, it was like, this is what I've been looking for.
Yeah.
Like, this is all about asking questions. Go answer your questions and come back. And I'm not going to say anything.
Right.
Like,
right.
This is a time for you where you get to learn who you are.
Yeah. And let whatever's
and for me,
coming
that was
in,
through nature.
Let whatever's coming in percolate for
Yeah.
you. Like the first time I saw her stuff, I literally in my head saw one of those old coffee percolators where the water goes in the glass top and then it comes back out, and then all of a sudden there's this beautiful cup of delicious coffee, and I'm like, yeah. So it's all going up in our heads or in the spirit, whatever you want to call it. It's percolating and it's coming back into our heart and our soul, and then we can relay that message.
And how to embody it, that was the big thing too. It's not always thinking and doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the horses are so cool, because they're prey animals.
Yeah.
Like, you scare them and they run.
Yeah.
And if you can just stand and be with them,
yeah,
it's so empowering. And you get so many messages, and they're all nonverbal. Like, this is my thing, all nonverbal. It's just amazing. And the horse picks the people.
Yeah. Like the one, like your first horse that swayed back and forth in the background, and you said, well, I don't know. I think Bo is for me because look at, he's trying to get my attention. And you paid attention to that. You were open to seeing those cues and saying, okay, that's my guy and my guide.
And everybody asks, like, I do something with the horses, and they said, how do you do that? And I just look at them, and it's like, I ask.
Yeah.
And no is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like these horse people, they want to know, they want me to help them get to that point. And I'm like, how do I explain that? Because they already are, but they've had all these years and years of training. Don't go near the back end. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't do that. And pretty soon you're stuck.
Yeah.
And it's, I can coach someone cross the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
mm-hmm.
You don't have to be up close and personal. They have this personal space that is like 12 to 15 feet around them.
Yeah. Well, and
so there's just so many different ways.
That's really the true shamanic way, right? The true shamanic way. And even if you take the word shamanism out of it, if we go back to what our ancestors did thousands of years ago, was to be aware of the being in front of them, whether it was an animal, a human, a tree, a flower, a plant, a rock, a bird, whatever it was, they were just present with it instead of trying to fix something or answer something. It was like, hi, friend, how are you today? Do you want to talk? No, okay, I'll see you later. You're going to take off into
Yeah.
the woods? Okay, see you later. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
Um,
a white shepherd who is very similar to what you describe about the horses. She's very
yeah.
similar. If she doesn't want to talk, she
Yeah.
walks away. And people are like, "Well,
Yeah.
she's timid or she's me." I'm like, "Well, she knows what she does and she doesn't want, and we just have to pay attention to that." Yeah.
And we have this cat right now. He's been with us for 4 or 5 years, Morris, and he's hysterical. And I've had people that want to come back just to sit on the hay and let Morris come up and cuddle,
Oh,
and there's some people where he won't come up, but there's some people where as soon as he sees them, he comes over.
that's amazing. So
Yeah.
tell me what a typical session would look like if someone came to you for equine therapy.
Okay. It's not therapy.
Okay.
It's equine assisted coaching.
Assisted
And I like
coaching.
to describe it. Yeah. I like to describe it as a difference between physical therapist and a personal coach.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're injured and you need help healing, you would go to a physical therapist.
Yeah.
If you wanted to just get stronger from this point forward, you would go to your personal coach. So yes, does healing take place? Of course it does.
Right.
But my focus is from this point forward. And of course, if you're at your personal trainer or having a session with me, and then something comes up that needs healed, then you would go to the physical therapist and come back.
Right.
And so that's where it's really, really great to touch base. A typical session, um, that's where it's hard to nail it down.
Yeah.
Going to make sure people feel grounded. And it doesn't even, the thing with me is it doesn't even have to be with the horses, because I've had retreats where everybody at the retreat resonated with a tree. And if I didn't allow time for them to explore, we would have never gotten there.
Right.
So we live on 18 acres. I keep looking out the window. The horses are in the barn. But we live on 18 acres. We have woods, we have a pond, we have the horses, we have the cat, and a lot of wildlife. Deer, fox, coyotes, groundhogs, possums. We smell the skunks. Yeah, and so just to be and see what comes up for you. There's I always ask about if there's anything coming up and what's happening in your life, so that we can kind of release that and then see if there's one thing that's kind of on the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And it can, maybe that wasn't it. When we start talking about that, something else comes up. It's all good. Whatever is supposed to come up will come up. And I invite the horses in. They are what's called at liberty, so they're just free to roam. And so when we come out, I don't let anybody in the barn because that's their safe place.
Yeah.
So they're invited to come out and join us if they want. And that's the biggest thing that for me is the communication.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say, well, this horse is going to come or that horse does this, because the horses will mirror what's going on inside of you.
Right.
And so I'm just open to what the horses have to say.
Mm-hmm. So you
And
have 5.
and that's what's 4.
Yeah,
One is in the spiritual realm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's buried right out here by the coaching studio.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, that is really
Yeah, we helped him
beautiful.
transition. He was showing signs that he was having major stroke.
Yeah.
And so we helped him transition, and then that's where he's been buried.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you leave them, they stay in, they have free reign to come and go as they please. when they're
Yep.
in the barn, and when your guests come, whether for sessions or for the retreats. And
Mhm.
have you ever had a time when not one of them came out? Or
Yeah.
yeah. And how do you handle that, like with the people that are at the retreat, just explaining to them about their own energy and how sometimes you don't want to be,
So
intermingled with people. It's the same thing.
if none of the horses come out, there's plenty of places where we can go where we can see them,
Okay.
and just observing can give you a lot of feedback. And
Mm,
maybe our focus is the wrong place. Maybe it's not the horses that are supposed to give us any kind of information. Maybe we
right.
need to walk a little bit and then come back to the horses.
Right. Well, and get information from the trees, as you said, or from Morris the cat,
Oh,
right? So
or the
be
pond.
open to all of the elements of nature that are
Yes.
present and all of the beings that are present, instead of just focusing
Mhm.
on the horses. Maybe the horses are the draw and hold the,
Yeah.
for me, like horse is one of my animals, horses, wolf, dog, for me, just the strength and the grace, the wisdom and the beauty of the horse. If I just hear the word horse, I have a horse drum from Natural Causes, and it's like, if I just hear the word horse, I get chills up and down my spine. And I have such a respect for, I have a respect for all beings. And yet when I hear that word horse, it's like, I feel like horses and wolves were such huge assistance to humanity since the day we came on the planet, that they get big respect.
And it's rare that they won't at least come out and see who's there. Like,
Yeah.
if you're
Curious.
grounding and you have this beautiful safe energy, they want to come out and be a part of it. So one of the experiences I have, if people like experiences, we have two mini horses that are about 36, 38 inches at their withers, and then two normal sized horses. And if I put a lawn chair out, Smokey likes his back end scratched, and he will literally sit in your lap for you to scratch his back end.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Really
So
amazing.
it's, you know, if it's really hot and humid, we have quite a bit of shade, but they're probably going to stay in the barn,
Mm-hmm.
and we can go out and observe how they're interacting together. Sometimes that gives us a lot of information. Um, but usually they'll at least come out and be curious about who's there.
Mm-hmm. Do you work with them every day for your own sense of,
We
I mean, I
feed
know
them
you
twice.
feed them, you're feeding them, all of that.
Yeah.
And when you're with them on a daily basis, I'm sure that you're having your own conversations, I guess is what I mean by,
Uh,
where you're having your own
I
conversations.
I think it's so natural that it just comes so naturally to me that yes, absolutely. And there are days when, if I'm going to go turn on the fans on these hot, humid days, maybe I'll take carrots down there. And
Mm-hmm.
I've learned the horses whinnies. So when I whinny at them, they know they're either going to get fed or they're going to get a treat.
Mm-hmm.
And so we talk a lot with our voices.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I think a lot. I think a lot because they'll tell me something itches, or one horse is a little tick magnet, and he'll come up. If you just hold your hands like this and scratch, my horses will walk back and forth until they get to a place where they want to be scratched. I
Uh-huh.
mean, that's just how we communicate. So yeah,
Yeah.
I actually communicate with them all the time. I love going out, and if they're laying down, I like to sit on the ground with them. I've
Mm.
taken a nap. I love grooming. Um, yeah, I think as long as you're touching the horse and they're aware of where they are, they only have a little bit of blind spot in the back and a little bit of blind spot in the front. And the other thing with my horses, they always tell me that it's not safe what I'm doing with my horses. And all I can tell you is that if we're doing something the horse doesn't like, they walk away because
Mm-hmm.
they're free. There's no halter, there's no nothing.
Yeah.
So there's never been kicking or biting or anything, because if you don't have the right spot, they'll literally take a step forward and take a step back. And it's kind of like, try a different spot, you know? So yeah, there's herd dynamics that we always have to be aware of. There's definitely a pecking order. Yeah, that's just things. I think my role in this is to keep the humans safe and to keep the horses safe.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the horses are trying to communicate, and I don't always see it. Have I been bit? Yep. Have I been kicked? Yep. Because I try and get in conversations and fix it. You have to let them take care of it and trust that they'll do what they need to do. And so my role is, you know, there's this other horse coming and it might move some of the other horses. So let's step back and watch what's happening, and then place ourselves where it's safe again. Yeah.
You absolutely light up when you talk about the horses, especially when you talk about your own experiences of being with them. You light up. And I get a sense that many of the people who return to you not only recognize that within you, but feel that within themselves, because eventually they connect with that sense of passion.
And there's great peace too, just listening to them crunch hay.
Yeah.
You know, just sit and you know, we can there's lots of places you can be where you're not with the horses, but you can hear them. And it's just amazing. And I'm hoping that when people come here, they find that amazing part of themselves, because it's there. I just hope that I'm facilitating their finding their own.
Yeah.
Because they already have it.
Yeah, like finding their own feel good and finding their hero. So listeners, I want to remind you that, right? I'm having a conversation with Vickie Seiter, Journey with Horses, LLC. Google her, find her, visit her retreats, and not just work with the horses, but work with her energy and following your own feel good and finding your own feel good, right? So, let's talk a little bit about, what do you do on the retreats? And I know you have a retreat coming up in the next month, right? It's next month. In
June 9th, 10th, and 11th. It's a weekend retreat, and it's only open to 4 people because I've reserved a cabin where people will stay in a cabin.
Yeah, it sounds so incredible, so amazing. And if you can't make the June one, definitely visit her website. But let's talk about that. So you have a cabin, it's for 4 people. Tell us a little bit about what somebody might expect, what they might be feeling, why they would want to come to this retreat. What's the power besides you?
It's about unplugging from technology. Especially here at the farm, you're probably not going to get very good reception. We're out in the middle of nowhere. I just found out that the cabin does have Wi-Fi. Yeah. So you will have connection there. But coming out here, what I love about traveling is that you leave everything behind and you experience new things, and then you get to decide what you want to take home and incorporate.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is what I'm offering. Come to the woods.
Yeah.
Reconnect with nature. You don't have to change your whole life, but just changing one little thing. So when you come on Friday night, I get all of my food from the Triple Nickel Diner. And they don't even have a microwave. They have a garden in there beside their diner. I mean, all the food is like homemade. And all the food I usually get is vegetarian or vegan. So if you have any other dietary needs, I just need to know, because they will accommodate. So when you come on Friday night, I will have a meal. And at this cabin, there's even a little fire pit where we can just chill by the fire, watch the fire. and then Saturday morning, again, there'll be food at the cabin from the diner. And then we come out to the farm. And the first thing we probably do that I've been thinking about is like, we're going to walk around. I'm going to show you where all these things are. And we get a walk and talk. And then Sarah's Finding Your Feel Good is about answering some questions, and you get a journal. So, and a couple of those are timed. So I want people to take some time to do that. And I'm in no hurry.
Yeah.
And then just before lunch, I have a friend of mine is certified in Qigong. And he's going to come do a half hour, 45 minutes of Qigong. And then we'll have lunch together. And then in the afternoon, again, it's some more questions and a little bit more time on the farm. I do a lot of really organic, I call them micro coaching sessions. Like as people are walking around, I'll just go and touch base. Do you want me here? First question.
Right.
Would you like for me to be here with you?
Yeah.
If you're having your own moment, I don't want to interrupt.
Right.
And then, the horses will come and go, or, I had one woman who was walking around the fence, and a horse kept an eye on her the whole time. I'm like, did you notice how connected Teddy was with you? He watched you the whole time. And she had a coaching session. This was out in the pasture. All 3 other horses laid down. I mean, you talk about trusting and comfortable.
Wow.
The other 3 horses laid down while she was scratching Teddy, and we were having a micro coaching session.
Wow.
So I just want that to be, I want that to be really organic.
Very powerful.
And then we're done at the farm by 4:00. I don't remember. I usually do some kind of artwork, a mandala or something like that. But Sunday morning, again, we'll have lunch here at the farm from Triple Nickel. Dinner will be at the cabin, Triple Nickel. The food will be there. And then Saturday morning, the whole 3 hours in the morning is when I would like for us to create a despacho.
I love that.
So I'm going to have, we can do drumming, we can do Native American flute. We're gonna slow down and take our time.
I love that. So,
and I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna burn it or put it in the pond. I'll decide that stuff in the moment. Or bury it, because obviously with 18 acres we can do any of it.
Yeah.
And just kind of let that unfold.
Yeah. And so let's give the listeners a little idea of what a despacho is. What is a despacho ceremony in your, in your world? What does that mean for you?
So we're going to create a medicine wheel out of plants, corn. There's going to be a lot of different textures and items. And I don't like to say, use the corn because it represents this.
Right.
I want to say, these are all the things I have to offer. And what does it mean to you? Because I think we all have different ideas about what it means to us. And you create this beautiful, medicine wheel. And then we're going to let it go.
Yeah.
So we're either going to bury it, we're going to burn it, or we're going to put it in the pond. And depending on, what feels right to you.
It's such a beautiful offering to do the mandala or the despacho both together. It's just such a beautiful offering. And I love that you keep reiterating what it means to the person, right? That this is what it means to you, not what it means to me.
Yes.
I hold circles and quite often, and many times people will want me to give them my feedback. And I'm always saying to them, I would love to give you some feedback. I need you to just allow it to percolate. I need you to think about what that feedback means to you. Hit me up in a day or two. Hit me up when you've had time to process whatever wisdom came through for you, because it's for you. It's not for me.
Yeah.
This is what I use. I like chocolate in all of my ceremonies. I'm a chocoholic. Maybe you don't like chocolate. I like sugar.
Right.
Maybe you don't eat sugar. I
Yeah.
love flowers. Maybe that doesn't mean a thing to you. So I
Right.
absolutely love that you said, I'm going to have all of this available.
Yep.
You take what works for you.
And I think that's what's I know Lisa Morrell did that for me at Equine Alchemy.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening with Sarah Seidelmann too, is that I usually take several days to process.
Yeah.
And if somebody gives me feedback, it shuts off my process.
Yeah.
So I don't want to shut off your process. I want you to come. And if it doesn't happen for a week or a month, that's just your process.
Right. Right. That makes it
And
organic. The way that
yes.
it makes it organic
Yeah.
and your wisdom, because we all
Some
have that.
people know right away. Some people don't.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's why I'm like, okay, take it, let it process for a minute. Yeah, I don't want to give
Yeah.
you my feedback. Once in a great while, somebody will say, I have no clue. I don't know what it is. And I'll say, I'm going to give you a couple, don't Google it. I'll say, do not go Google it because everybody wants to
Right.
Google right away. If I'm
Right.
not giving them their answer, I'm like, don't Google it. Just
Yeah.
sit with it for a minute.
Well, and sometimes if people said, something's coming up, but I'm not sure what it is it work related? Is it family? Is
Yeah.
it personal? And let them find it. Yes, sometimes we need a little bit better boundary around it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would never say, I think this is it. That drives me crazy
Yeah.
when somebody says, oh, I know what your problem is. And it's just like, I'm shut down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really don't want that to happen.
I love that you hold space. And I know that within all of your coaching, um, questions that you ask are probably very potent and very powerful. That when somebody is stuck, asking them a question instead of saying, this is exactly what's happening to you. Instead,
Ugh.
you ask a question. Well, what does this look like? What does that look like? Well, I'm sure
Or
you have
take a
a whole
breath.
variety. Take a breath.
Yeah.
Pause.
Take a breath. Can
Yeah.
you see it? Can you hear it? Can you taste it? Can you touch it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I just want to find out where that is for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
Yeah.
isn't that what they want to find out? Like, isn't that
Yeah.
why we seek these things? Is because we want to find out for us. We've been giving our power over to somebody else forever. It's just the way it
Yes.
is. It's what we've been taught forever, for so long. And that's not what our people did. Before all the crazy stuff came into to play, our people found out for themselves, and that's really what we want. We're seeking some sense of inner power, some sense of inner connection, and you're providing that space of people to allow a new way to the old way, right? You're allowing that
Yes.
space and connecting with some of the most powerful, all of the elements of nature, because they all have something to show us. Amazing.
And people are so used to being so busy. And so I got this, I got that, I got this. And to just, I'm not saying you can do it all weekend. And sometimes
Right.
it's only 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you're back at it again. But for me, it was learning about moving in and out of these energies. Like I don't have to stay there, but I could move over here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want people to have an opportunity to try that here.
Yeah. Yeah. And to experience what their feel good is. What is it that feels good to you? Right? What
Yes.
is it that feels
Yes.
good to you? And then do more of that.
Yes.
And when they leave your space, do more of that, right? Find
Yeah.
opportunity in your life to do more of what you just did, whatever
Yes.
that looks like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
Love it.
Yeah. All right. So we're getting down to the wire here. I told you it goes by really fast.
Of
I don't
course we
even,
are.
it just goes by so fast. I want to remind everybody, watcher, whether you're watching, whether you're listening, to connect with Vickie on Journey with Horses LLC. And she's on Facebook. Are you on Instagram too?
I am, but for some reason they're not hooked up. I am on Instagram, Journey with Horses LLC.
Okay, so find her on Facebook for sure. Go to her website. I'll have all that information in our feed here. It'll be below. And and let's leave with a thought. If you could tell somebody, if you could give somebody one thought that helps elevate their soul or, reconnect them to themselves, what would that be for you?
So you are whole, creative, and resourceful right now. Come and expand your awareness at the resting place.
That is so beautiful. I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And I know that I'm going to see you at some point in Ohio. I'll be there. I already know this. I have chills. I'm going to be there. And
I do too.
this isn't our first time, or our last.
No.
Thank you so much. And I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Teri.